Ladies and Germans, how you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
And I'm Rangroo, low, low, low.
And folks, we are actually finally out of the divisional disaster tournament here on Slutsk Vest with actually another tournament that Rang is going to tell you about. Take it away, Rang.
Well, quickly for the players, on left hand side in blue we have Ort playing as Trove Tartaleg with Vanguard income. Right hand side Nilla playing First Polis Infantry with Vanguard income. This replay and the next replays we're going to see over the next little while will be from the Steel Division Super Tournament, which happened just this weekend, which is essentially a nice, quick and fun, one day, just standard tournament affair. So, we're going to be seeing some pretty good matches here.
Well, of course, you have to mention the fact that in this tournament, both players had to play the tournament with a chicken on their heads and singing the national anthem of their respective countries. So let's make sure we call it right here. But thankfully, no, we're actually not going to see any kind of goofy divisional matchups, which is why I think I'm so excited to see 12th Tartalek, because I haven't seen them in so long. It's so...
I know.
Man.
It always makes you happy to see them, because they are arguably the worst division in the game, still. And especially on a map like this, where they have a very hard time in long-range capabilities, it'd be interesting to see how they actually match up, especially against such a juggernaut as the first pose, which is the spammiest of spam divisions with really scary airplanes like these IL-2s.
Yeah, but at the same time, actually, I really do love this opening here that has this off-map call-in going after the infantry in the town. I'm also kind of curious to see Kovacs, my friend. I'm not sure you can be able to do this.
I like IL-2s, like they have Stalamini in them as armor.
Yeah, exactly. They're protected by the power of communism.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's actually being sent away with smoke. Yeah, dude, it's time to bug out. If the ace gets taken out by some nameless bomber, it's time to pack it in, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah, we got constant off-map artillery barrage on the southern town. I know we're seeing a lot of smoke play here from Nilla, using his smoke on the two-man flamethrower teams, I believe, to try and cover his advance to fight the enemy's two-man flamethrower teams.
Well, Kovac should go down. Got taken out by an IL-2, but there's still an ME-109 up in the air. And you're absolutely right. Yeah, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a second barrage going on in. It's definitely stymieing the early kind of Polish aggression here, but really giving the Hungarians a whole lot of space to get in themselves.
Yeah. Got T-34s, giving some pretty good fire support on the southern side of the town. Especially with the lack of AT, these T-34s should be pretty damn deadly. Even in an open ground fight, which is usually not rare, the 76 T-34s want to be. And where's Messerschmitt? No, not the other IL-2s are real slippery bastards.
Well, technically, one IL-2 is down, the other one was a Yak-B.
Oh, okay.
So, Kovac did go down, but we did get a kill out of one of his comrades. Now, unfortunately, that P3 to the south of that forest did go down in a tool with the T-34E. But this ME-210 could cause some issues. Or it couldn't do absolutely anything. One or the other, really.
Mm-hmm. So such is the life of gun, like, anti-tank gun planes. They either, come in, kill 5 tanks in a single gun run and then bugger off. Or they never get any penetration hits.
No. I'm trying to watch this last artillery barrage. The thing that's kind of frustrating me ever so slightly is that I love this artillery, but then you have to follow it up with some kind of aggression. Move some infantry. Attack!
Yeah, he does have those, I'm not even going to try to pronounce bloody Hungarian names, but he has regular infantry guys ready to move up, but he's not counter-attacking, which is really not going to do much. I mean, he killed a lot of bit of dudes with the off-map artillery, but you really just have to pin them down so you can rush in and get the surrender.
Meanwhile, the troops from Arstotzka, and by themselves, as two Strelki squads come on in, not going to go too well for them. At least as long as Arstotzka squads stay where they should be, at that kind of short to medium-ish range, outside basically the bundle charges.
Yeah.
I want to look up here to the top real quick because we've been kind of neglecting it. The Alto Carnies, as well as the Streltsky squad, getting kind of sent packing for the moment, but that's not really because of the flamethrower, more as a consequence of that MG34.
He's in a pretty good position to keep those guys at bay, but when the Streltsky, or DP squad essentially comes in, I think MG34 will be kind of buggered.
As with so many things, MG34 gets buggered.
Mm-hmm.
But T-34-76, did we lose a T-34? Did. That's right,
Yeah, one
the
down
plane, the
south,
ground
yeah.
attack plane.
Yeah, it's been pretty even so far, 5 minutes into the match. Still a trove. Nilla only losing a little bit of points, but, I mean, looking at this still from a macro map perspective, both sides are just kind of digging in their heels.
Shockingly enough, by the way, that lone squad of the Arkansas have taken out their attackers, probably helped by the fact that their attackers were not the most well supported, even with the
Mm-hmm.
T-34 and all the troops in the center.
A huge amount of tank Tessaloniki's coming into the town. And yeah, if he can rush them up to the Hungarian infantry position, yeet some Molotovs in their general direction, that should be a pretty easy town capture for Nilla.
Unfortunately, though, he is allowing his troops to get cut out in the open. There's a couple of Molotovs right there. You're absolutely right, though. So maybe me thinketh that I complained too quickly. Wow. That is truly a ferocious firefight.
I know, right? Yeah, I was very good maneuvering. I do like seeing this tank Tessaloniki play, especially when you bring him in. I think you have to bring him in, really, with the armoured half tracks. Because it allows you to get very close to the infantry when you're on a bulletproof car. Or
Can I just say
half track.
how heartrending it was and how heartrending it continues to be to watch as squad after squad gets cut down by automatic weapons fire. Like, I don't think I ever really watched an infantry fight from so close.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it hits you in the feels.
Yeah. Especially when all the infantry are cryptic bloody PPSHs. That's a pretty scary submachine gun of how many bullets it shoots.
When squads are squad, yeah, these poor Hungarians are getting carved to shreds.
Mm-hmm.
And IL-2 coming in, looking to maybe bomb that last little bit of resistance as the ME-2 tank goes to the north. And kind of interested to see. Interesting. Really curious targeting. I've probably gone for the stuff closer to the south here, but, each their own, I suppose. Very curious. We have a moment of half breath as another off-map barrage, courtesy of this other 100mm north of the town, does start to lay some hurt onto the town. Unfortunately, it's not going to do a whole lot for us. Looking back to the north, we are going to see Carney squads as well as Strelkis, maybe supported by the T-34s. Might be enough to push these infantry out of this northern forest. It's going to be close, though.
Yeah, well, Hungarian infantry very bunched in together. But, the T-34's not being able to get an angle to, help out in fire support. Yeah, it's actually holding really well with the flamethrower squad, just in the right position to, well, flame on.
Oof.
Ooh. Oh, as with the, he killed it with the bloody anti-tank, like, Panzerschreck grenade. Breach load rocket on that AT gun.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about. I hope the people at home know what we're talking about.
So, just in case you're not really sure what he's talking about, folks, a 40mm anti-tank gun over here. It has what basically amounted to, how do I say this? Well, the PAC-38, it was kind of like a shaped charge that they plugged on the end of it, and it looked exactly like a giant rifle grenade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, blew up tanks, and I think he's gonna get that shot off again.
Probably true. So, by the way, I'm sure Rooster's out there watching one of our videos. Rooster, if you are watching, please feel free to update the good people on the technical aspects of it. For any of you who don't know, Rooster has been a very, very generous kind of, I guess, viewer to the channels. He's very, very good with the technological material behind it. And yep, you're absolutely right. 2 shots later, and there it goes.
I do like how the smallest anti-tank guns in game, like that and the PAC-36, are some of the weakest, but also at the same time some of the strongest anti-tank guns.
But that's how it should be, though. I feel like in this kind of game, I mean, I know there's talk about kind of modifying some of the game mechanics here. I'm just kind of keep that a little bit unclear for the moment. But it's nice to know that even the most humble anti-tank gun is not just a door knocker to play on the historical pun.
Yeah, so small AT guns, even if they're not shooting bloody rifle grenades, they can cause a lot of critical hits, which can really bugger up a tank.
Certainly true. Now, 1410, shockingly enough, Ort has not really been down and out on his luck here, but he has been kicked around quite a bit. As we kind of stumble into Phase B, as both incomes get a little bit more lean, we do see 3 H-39s being brought in from the north. Do we see any kind of up in a Stug coming in, a couple Stugs coming in, excuse me, to kind of bolsters the sagging lines over here. Not sure I agree with the placement to the north on that one. I feel like you have to kind of go maybe take the central position. But right now we see T-34 aggressing.
Yep.
And that would have been a maybe better call. I'm sorry, sir?
No, I think Nilla's, if he, spends a little bit more points trying to take a central position, like I usually say, if you can capture that central hill and just hold it, you pretty much kind of written the game, because it's such an important point. And it's also very easy and underestimated to take, because no one wants to take it, because it's in bloody open field.
But you know what? Yeah. It's such a Napoleonic thing, though. Like, taking that central position kind of gives you so much flexibility. Yes, you might give up the sides for a bit, but a lot of victory points are consistently put in the center of all the maps.
And also, with Nilla's deck, he does have the tank advantage. Okay, Ort does get access to Stugs and the Protos, but you get a lot of T-34s with first pose, so you're not going to be running out of them. Whereas the Stugs, you only get like one card of Stugs.
Certainly true. It's kind of amusing to me also to kind of be seeing these bombers coming with their skip bombs to take out like a lone anti-artillery piece or a lone anti-tank gun. I mean, we're so used to seeing them going after tanks just to freak them out. It's kind of refreshing to know that it's worthwhile to shoot something that doesn't have 75 millimeters of armor.
Yeah, or hold up inside of a building. And exactly. I'm quite surprised with how the town flight has turned to Orch's favour. He's managed to completely clear it out of all of those poles.
I think that might be a consequence of seeing these 6 squads of Strokies getting brought in, but then having the moves cancelled.
They're just having like a little barbecue, yeah?
Well,
roadside picnic.
It's hurry up and wait. So I get it,
Yeah, no, he's only got some of the regular Strotkis and not as good as their Strotkp cousins. So if Ort can, Ort's infantry is,
Honestly, if out of all the things that they can write home about, that might have been the closest, just to say his infantry. But even then,
the ones in town, he doesn't have. I keep forgetting Tartalek is not like Lovas, right? They get the awesome mechanized troops. They're just regular rifle troops, which aren't as good because they don't have the semi-automatic quotation mark rifle.
Well, unfortunately, we have 5 men who are holding the line as 55 men come the other direction. Sorry, 66 men come the other direction. And this is going to turn to like a Batman level as these troops are going to start diving into the smoke and taking out the last remaining Hungarians around this crossroads.
Too bad those guys in the smoke don't have, flamethrowers or satchel charges. That'd be the perfect ambush position.
And see, right now, we have Strokies that's kind of zooming right by, and instead of getting out,
they get blown up. It comes even more off-map. Revolt really doesn't have a lack of this off-map artillery bringing in the HE-46 plane.
Is that what they just called it in? Oh, jeez, yeah, wow.
The little dinky biplane. Oh, it's not a biplane, it's a monoplane, but it looks like a biplane.
Well, the funny thing is, too, is that Nilla kind of seems to know that, which is why he's hustling away with a lot of his infantry. And Ort is bringing in a Stoke to swing north of the town. This might not turn out well for him.
Oh no, as guys of anti-tank grenades, and they'd definitely like to share the effective use of anti-tank grenades with that Stug, especially when under the cover of smoke. And as you can see, the anti-tank grenade makes the tank very anti.
Now, I kind of forgot that biplane has, like, 250 or 300 millimeter off-map artillery, but oh my gosh.
I know, it's huge. Like, look at the size of those explosions.
Earth shakers, son. Oh, yeah. Send you right back to your Emperor. No. I'm trying to figure out, okay. So the beginnings of maybe an attempt to take the southern side of this map. But there's been several squads of Lovich's and Arkhangelsk's, and forgive me for my own pronunciation, down hugging the southern map edge. Do you think it's going to be enough to stick these Carnies in with a couple squads of Strokies in support?
Is this maybe an isolation play? That's what I'm guessing. But yeah, the carnies, which are essentially disheartened penal troops, are really bloody good because they're a lot of dudes with a lot of guns. They're very tough nut to crack, even with the disheartened trait. Arguably even harder to kill disheartened because they get suppressed faster, meaning once a unit's pinned down, they take less damage. Disheartened is funnily enough sort of a buff in some cases.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe go a little bit more into that, please, because I know for me, I constantly feel like having a broken heart doesn't really get you anywhere. But
Or you take more suppression damage, meaning that you get pinned down faster. And when you're pinned down, you take less damage. So if you just want a unit to be a meat shield, it's actually better for it to be disheartened, because they get pinned down faster, and then they take even longer to kill, where a regular infantry dude is just going to stand in the open a little bit longer, being shot at.
fighter bomber run over here in the center, and continues its lackluster performance. How is it that a Junker with a 37mm cannon is able to do more damage than an ME-210 with 40mm cannon? I know it's a very minor difference there,
don't
but
know.
like,
I just think he hasn't been getting lucky with those protos.
thereby proving it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it.
It's always about how you use it, guys.
Or so I've heard.
from a source.
Ugh, but alright, 13-11 over here to halfway through Phase B. And the gap is certainly growing between Ort and Nilla's ticket sales, shall we say. And yeah, one by one, these intrepid defenders are being taken on out. I did want to add one little thing to your disheartened comment. It's true that disheartened is good for a meat shield. I wonder how effective it would be to kind of stick up a couple disheartened troops and kind of game the AI and stick, more dangerous guys, stroke keys or DP guards or something like that behind the front line. I guess the disheartened play is good, so long as the front territory doesn't shift.
So used them as meat shields essentially.
Yes, to literally walk and take point and get hit.
Yeah, it's kind of like in the whole point of using Ersatz Troopen, especially in SD-44s, without Jaeger Ersatz Troopen combo of 91st. I'll just have your cheap guys in the back and the front, and then your awesome guys in the back just blowing up everything.
So it's like party in the front, business in the back. Gotcha.
Exactly. But the business is an MG42 mounted machine gun.
I actually really did like this leapfrogging forward of this anti-air. I don't know how long the anti-air is going to be on the map, even as Ort kills some of his own troops.
But he kills all the enemy troops in return, so I take it as a win. Holy crap, just...
Yeah, that was a real Longshanks moment there.
Ort's just pretty much been able to hold onto his town by blowing up the other half of it.
Yeah, which when you drill right down into it, isn't really holding the town as more... it's not worth taking in the first place.
I mean, there's so many bloody craters in that town, you could open up a skate park.
Exactly. Oh, exactly. Now, I actually kind of like this. We have these flamethrower troops being thrown down into the southern town. I don't think it's going to be enough to take this, but it'll be enough to clear out at least part of these Hungarian defenses.
I love the use of smoke here to cover your advance.
Well, I mean, this really is how you're supposed to run those kinds of attacks. Usually you're not supposed to mortar your own troops, but, ooh.
Yeah, only managed to kill one infantry squad with that attack, so didn't go quite as planned. Up north, things are starting to get a little bit hot and heavy again as Nilla's pushing in T-34s and SU-85s and a boatload of infantry. And look at Ort, he has, loads of dudes as well. All fighting over this one small checkpoint.
That's true. Now, I think I'm nervous right now for this stroke because it's going to go down really quickly here. But not for particularly the SU-85. Huh. I actually had expected the SU-85 to be a little more resilient than what it was. I always forget that 135 AP.
The Stugs can be pretty nasty, but so can 45mm anti-tank guns. They're always nasty.
Yeah, they didn't get hooked enough when they were kids. Taking oh geez, we're gonna have another push here by Strelkies in the south.
That's a lot of Strelkies, and I guess Ort has an off-map artillery plane, ready for the moment.
It's ready for the moment, but I mean, I think it's been more because Nilla has not desired to try to take it out.
Yeah, Nilla hasn't really been bringing out any fighters, if I recall. It's really just been the ILs and the Yak bombers.
But when you're facing Tartalek, I mean, a Yak bomber doesn't need much, fighter cover.
I do like his push in the middle here from Ort, moving that Stug and that lone French tank to try and, get a little bit of ground in the middle. Always a good play if you have the ability to. Probably could use with maybe a little bit more infantry and recon to back up his tanks, but if he can grab a flag or two to stop the bleeding, that would help out.
We talk about how effective that 45mm armor firing has been, though, too. I mean, geez. He's been able to loft rounds way down range and consistently hit a tiny tank about 2 kilometers away.
Yeah. I know they've been talking about redoing the tank ranges, or all the gun ranges, essentially, mainly with tank guns, to bring it, not to make everything 2 kilometers, but to give everything adjustable ranges. So 45mm AT guns shouldn't be able to hit at 2 kilometers, which is realistic because those guns could barely hit 1 kilometer in real life, so 2 kilometers may be pushing it a bit too much.
Well, I wonder what the effect's going to be on decks overall. Are we going to see a resurgence of less anti-tank guns but better quality, or are we just going to say anti-tank guns nice and close? Now, I don't want to get too far away from it, but we are going to see the Tartalek trying to get nice and close to the south, and this is going to be another hellacious firefight.
Bunch of low vests, not the best in CQC.
They're not slouches, though.
You have a lot of them. And when you only fight against Strelkies, I guess, it's actually pretty even Stevens.
Well, it's much easier to fight, too, when they're not engaging multiple squads at the same time. I mean, they're having the benefit right now of being able to hit teeny tiny groups. Of course, as this IL-2 comes in, we're going to see this entire push get completely shut down. Yep.
Messerschmitt gonna respond in kind. And holy crap, actually managed to shoot down an IL-2 of a fighter plane. That is balmy.
It certainly is uncommon, but even as Phase C runs around, this is where obviously these guys start running a little bit on fumes. Now, we've talked about the fact that Tartalek does feel that loss a little bit more keenly. But what might be the issues over here for Nilla?
I want to say he's gonna run out of infantry, but I mean, it's probably first pose. They never run out of infantry, so I'm guessing if anything, he's probably gonna be lacking a little bit more in the armor and like airplane department later on.
Well, the armor and air department, I mean, it's not really here against the Hungarians too much.
We're seeing 2 of those off-map planes being brought in up north, so things are going to get very explosive in this forest sometime soon.
That might be true, but wait, I think that one airplane's actually called in every last artillery barrage it had. Yep, that's where the other one comes in. Thing is, I don't think he's going to make it out alive. Oh no, he's desperate to get it out alive, which is why he's calling all of these fighter bombers and things.
Going to be bombing the airplane or anti-aircraft guns.
There's been a surprising amount of anti-air cover.
Well, both sides have actually set up pretty good anti-aircraft nets. Trying to keep the skies clear.
Actually, I'm kind of fascinated to see what happens for this northern barrage, because you can see right now, unless it impacts the outside of that ring, holes are pretty much out of it, which is both deliciously uncomfortable for Ort, but also rather fortunate for Nilla.
Unfortunately for him, you don't really have to be accurate with 300mm of artillery.
Well, and that was a crazy thing. Like, yeah, I mean, think about it. You either have a barrage that lands all in the middle, and you're like, yeah, nailed it. But this is that one barrage that normally you'd be like, oh, this is awful. It's not hitting anything in the ring, but it hits everything he aimed at.
Oh, that was perfect. That was inaccurately perfect, and that brings it back to a trove, and Ort's pushing pretty well in the center, and he's managed to, keep the southern side held for now. He could potentially get one flag just south of the town and bring it up to a 13-11. And then he's got the northern push here with a bunch of his other Hungarian infantry, which I'm not going to pronounce, machine gun teams. And then the northern side is pretty bad. I mean, it's just a 137mm gun.
I am surprised. The Poles don't seem to be reinforcing with quite the same verve as the Hungarians.
He's finally bringing in an 85mm AA gun, a T-34, up north to try to reinforce, but they're going to take a little bit of time to reach the front line, and by that time, his Hungarian infantry should have gotten to a position. Maybe, I mean, that low on 37mm could do some work.
Well, we do have that 13-11 like you were talking about here, and now the Hungarians are just storming to their front. There's just this high rising tide of blue to the north.
And
Nilla drops out. That was shocking. That was a body blow constantly over here to Ort, and yet somehow he hangs on for a victory.
Yeah, that was definitely one of those matches where he just outlasted his opponent, even though both were Vanguard incomes. But just look at the KD, I wasn't expecting that much of a difference, but I guess it really comes down to all those off maps. Take a look at losses.
I'll take a look actually real quick at the kills. We have one 37mm that had 3 air kills, but yeah, let's see the off maps like you were talking about. Well, it was a 75mm Jakob. That's got, what, 8 kills?
That's a lot of infantry he killed. I'm guessing they're in transports.
It's entirely possible, but remember, those I think do have the HE, so he might have been picking off a couple of wounded squads. And the off map, the 305mm, only 3 kills. That's it.
I guess the off, I'm actually quite surprised the off map didn't kill as much in total, but I guess they just weakened down the enemy squads for the Hungarian infantry to come in and clear job. But that was a fantastic match. I was quite surprised Ortman to pull that in the end, because Nilla really had him going for the first 20 minutes.
Exactly. It's one of those things that I really thought that Ort was going to tap, and we continue to talk about that the Hungarians are not a group that you play for late game play or mid game play or even really early game play.
No, you're not meant to play Trove Tartar period, really. They're not a good division, but we've seen it work, and that is by spamming the everlasting cheeses out for that off map to keep your opponent at bay long enough so you can eventually counter-push some point in the future.
But, fun thing, nothing else. I like seeing, basically, I don't want to use the term minor belligerents or, diverse divisions, but it's nice seeing the less obvious combatants here. So both we have the Poles and we have, the Hungarians. It's nice. It's a nice change.
That's one thing I really love about Steel Division, is how it highlights the less obvious, more niche combatants, because all these people fought in the Second World War, but usually in movies, video games, it's usually German. If you're gonna play Germans or Axis, you're usually playing German Panzer divisions. But here in Steel Division 2, you can play as a Hungarian infantry division. Don't you want to play as a Hungarian infantry division, guys? You don't even get Panzers or Panthers. You get French tanks and reared anti-tank guns and reared infantry names. That's not what you want.
You can disappoint all kinds of grandfathers someplace.
Yeah, but it's great. I always loved that, because these games are really good historically to showcasing that, hey, World War II wasn't just 5 countries, it was many other countries with varying levels of participation.
Well, I guess then the last thing I want to say before maybe we get going for the moment is I can't wait for them to put a Brazilian division in.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool. But Thursday, do you remember off the top of your head who's duking it out or no?
Nope.
Well, folks, in that case, then that means you better come back for Thursday. It's going to be another great game from the Super Tournament from this past weekend. I guess until then, though, I'm Con Ulrich.
Rangru, take it easy.